Hello and welcome to the 10-Minute Project Fix. My name is Gary Wills, I'm your host, and I'm also the founder of a recruitment company called Talent Today that is fast-tracking the recruitment process for the project delivery world. In each episode, we'll be discussing all things project delivery, and we'll be speaking to the very best project leaders and CIOs in the marketplace that have been there, done it, got the t-shirt, and got a lot of war wounds along the way. If you like what you hear from the podcast, please hit the like button, please subscribe to the channel, and please share or add a comment. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the 10-Minute Project Fix. Today I'm joined by Gary Long. I've known Gary for a number of years. I've worked with him previously, and he's an all-round, I've got to say, an absolute top bloke. Now, me and Gary, we got a little bit pally over the pandemic period. We did multiple walks and talks during the pandemic. But Gary's got this way about him, this exceptional experience where he's an IT director of 25 years. He's a top 100 CIO for 3 times. So, hey, Gary, a little bit over to you. How you doing this morning, Gary?
I'm good, Gary.
Gary, do you mind just talking as well? Because not only about your experience, we're going to get into the 10-minute bit shortly, but I think this maybe we could start this. You've had a bit of a struggle, really, haven't you, in the past sort of 2 years? There was a situation in your life, hence the moustache, which I'd love to talk about. You do look amazing today, but also, we're trying to raise a little bit of money for you as well for a great cause. So, Gary, you experienced cancer back in, was it 2019?
2019, yeah, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So my key message to anybody watching this would be, if you're around that 50-year-old male age, get yourself checked. Check yourself regularly, but look after your health. And I'm doing November this month, raising monies for men's health, obviously mental and cancer charities. And whenever I get the opportunity to raise money or raise awareness for prostate cancer, I do that. So yeah, that knocked me about a bit at the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020. And I came out the back end of that with positive news, just as we hit pandemic and lockdown time, actually. So, yeah.
What would you say helped you through that period? If anyone's experiencing this at the moment, is going through anxiety, they're scared. What was the best thing that you did to get you through that period?
Well, I found the mental challenge harder than the physical challenge. Actually, I had surgery, dealt with all of that. That was fine. But it was the mental challenge of suddenly feeling vulnerable to life-limiting illness or etc. So it's talking, right? It's reaching out, speaking with people, loved ones, friends. Actually, you and I did quite a bit of walking, virtual walking. We'd be up early in the morning and we walk our own routes, chatting about all sorts of rubbish as we do, Gary. But that just lightens the mood. And yeah, I deal with stress in that way, which is humor and conversation.
Yeah, well, don't I know it? Even though your humor's not always the best, I will be said. But right, we're gonna start the timer now. We've got 10 minutes. As we know, projects are all about getting them delivered on time and to budget and to effectively getting it done first time. So we've got 10 minutes to get through quite a lot, and then we're gonna have a little bit of fun at the end with a 60-second questionnaire. So I'm just gonna click the timer now. So to get started, what would you say is your top 3 tips to ensure that a project has the best chance of success? Okay,
so mentally, I always work on the who, what, when, where, why, and how. So that's always happening mentally for me regarding every project, every program. But the 3 top tips would be Gary Long's 3 R's, really, which is requirements. Make sure you've got a very clear business case with very well articulated outcomes and requirements. Okay. Second R is risks. Identify the risks early, attack them throughout the project. Whenever you feel a risk is not being managed, not being mitigated, or could develop, attack it. Don't sit and wait. Don't just report on it. Do something about it. And the third one is the third Gary Long R, which is resource. Make sure you resource that project up with the best project management, that should be you, that you've got the best stakeholder that's clear, that you hired SMEs, the people that are working on the project are not being dragged back into business as usual on a Monday morning because there's an issue technically. So the 3 R's: requirements, risks, resource.
And you've mentioned there about mitigating the risk. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you're trying to mitigate the risk?
First thing is who, what, when, where, why, how. How's
Yeah.
that come about? What we're going to do about it? Okay. But really, it's what's that risk going to be? What's the impact of the plan, and what's the impact of the budget?
Yeah.
And what's the impact of the people? Let me understand the impact, because it may well be minor. It may well be a conversation with a stakeholder that can actually mitigate this. But think about the people. What's the impact there as well? Okay, can be overlooked.
Yeah. Okay. And when you're trying to keep, let's say you go back to like 15, 20 years when you were doing that sort of program management position, what tips would you give to people about the stakeholder management approach? What worked for you to keeping your stakeholders happy?
I like to develop a personal relationship, right? I like to speak with people. I like to understand more. I need to understand a little bit about the person. So if I develop strong relationships, I can provide air cover for the guys and the girls that are actually delivering the work. But also, if I can develop strong rapport, we can get through anything by as humans talking to each other. So actually being able to develop something beyond the project in the way of conversational topic aids you through any issues.
But what if there's a tricky stakeholder, for instance, who just doesn't want to talk to you? You know, he's just more an email person. Do you work to their needs, or how do you go about that?
Well, I'd have to adapt there, Gary. But I'd have to adapt to their needs. But I still try and pull them out of that, right? I don't like to hide behind email. That's my one bugbear is the email project manager. Just don't do that. You've got to be able to speak to people. Of course, we can't do it in person these days, but there's nothing stopping a Teams call, or even if it's an early one or a late one, whatever it takes. But certainly do not fire out communication via email if I can help it.
Yeah, or even pick the phone up.
What's a phone?
Exactly. What's one of them nowadays, eh? Right. Okay. So now we've hit a problem, right? Either you've taken over a project which is failing, or it's not quite going to plan. Firstly, how does it make you feel? And when you're going home at the evening, how do you cope with that when a project is failing?
Look, if it's a project I've inherited, it's slightly different than if it's a project that I've been leading, right? And if it's a project I've been leading, then I feel extremely disappointed, but energized by wanting to keep calm. My first position, if it's going wrong, keep calm, because it's when true leadership comes to the fore. So again, dig deep: who, what, when, where, why, how, what's gone on there, what's our options, how are we going to deal with it. Now, when I get home, I might feel slightly different than when I'm trying to work through that with the team. But it's excitement as well, right? The adrenaline gets going. I don't like to fail. I'm a winner, right? So I want my projects to be delivered on time and for the benefit of everyone. So actually, there's an adrenaline fix there as well, trying to get stuff sorted. But the main objective is don't let that get into that state. Deal with the risks early. Yeah,
and that again, going back to the stakeholders, keeping them, updated from the get-go.
Regularly communicate.
Well, we've got plenty of time. We're only 5 minutes in, so you're flying through this. You're definitely going to hit this. You're definitely going to hit this target. All right. Okay. The solution now. What steps would you say to put in place to get the project back on track and delivered on time then?
Well, I've just said it. Communication, first of all. Engagement, Gary. Communicate with the stakeholder. Communicate with the SMEs. What's gone wrong? Then communicate with the team. Listen. Get everybody to listen to everybody's opinions. Why did it go wrong? What can we do? What are our options? Dialogue, right? And then come to a consensus. There may well be that at that point I've then got to make a decision. So that's fine. But then communicate the logic behind that decision. Replan, improve whatever failed. So if it was a lack of reporting that allowed us to get to that point, improve that. So I get down into the detail and then lift myself out of that when I feel that things are back on track.
Yeah, and talking about your career, because obviously it spans you 25 years as an IT director now. And
thanks, Gary.
Say again, sorry.
Thanks, Gary. People thought I was 27 till then.
Not with that moustache, I didn't. Anyway, what would you say was what's been your favorite position? Because I know now you're in a new role, and we were talking the other day and you were just so excited about that position. But what would you say in the past, would you say was a role that you really enjoyed, and why?
No, I've had a career working with FTSE 250, FTSE 100 organizations, global organizations, and private equity, right? And it's working in the smaller, more dynamic businesses that have really excited me most, where I actually can get to speak to people, understand the business, really connect with that. So my last two roles, one at a private healthcare business, private equity, really enjoyed that, really enjoyed the people, very dynamic, lots to do, lots to get stuck into, enjoyed that. And most recently, as you say, working for Linnaeus, which is part of the Mars Corporation, the global mission to make a better world for pets. I love that. I can connect to that on a professional and personal level. And the people there are absolutely fantastic. The culture is extremely positive. So yeah, I've enjoyed the last role, but I enjoy this best. The challenges are broad, they're deep, but my whole career has prepared me for this, and I'm loving it. And the team are great, the organisation's great, and I've been made to feel very welcome.
And you know what, as well, what's I think brilliant about this is what we were talking about, which you bravely were talking about earlier around the cancer side of it, where I know, when we were talking years ago, your confidence was at that point was at an all-time low, and to see the difference now that you really can bounce back, with the right mindset and getting through with support. So to see you so happy and upbeat today is just, it's credit to you.
Thanks, mate.
It's all right, buddy. Right. Well, we've hit that deadline of the 10 minutes, and now we're going to come into a little bit of fun. We're going to have to be really quick fire. So your brain's going to have to be switched on now. All right, Gary.
Yeah. Okay, mate.
Okay. Right. 60 seconds. We've got 60 seconds only. Quick fire questions, one after the other. Let's go. Best bit of software.
Sat nav.
Best bit of hardware.
My bike.
Best lesson learned.
You can learn something from everybody. Listen.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Jam or Marmite?
Marmite.
Who inspires you?
You.
Who frustrates you?
The England football team.
Yeah, definitely. I was there. Cup final. How do you keep mentally focused?
Talk and walk.
Your favourite sport and team?
Liverpool football.
Tell them how to do it or find a way together?
Find a way together, but if they need to, I'll tell them as well.
Work from home or in the office?
Both.
If you could have dinner with just one person, who is it?
My mum. Sadly passed away. So.
Favourite brand?
Interesting, that one. Under Armour, I'd say.
Who?
Under Armour. No,
hey,
you can't. Mate, did we do that?
We nearly got.
We didn't. Do you want to do that again? Because you questioned me. What did we hit then? In the way of
no, we won't need to do it again. It's done.
Oh, okay.
We just have 3 left, which I'll ask you anyway now. But podcast or music?
Music.
Early bird or night owl?
Early.
An ideal retreat. That's where you take me away.
Mallorca.
Mallorca.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gary.
That favourite brand was a tricky one.
Under Armour.
That in the end.
I've started to go more to Gymshark because of their.
Yeah, Solio. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Gary, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I've really enjoyed, the insights that you've given. I know that there's going to be so many people that are in the project delivery world that will listen to this and just gain some insights, some little golden nuggets. There will be further episodes coming through as well. But Gary, I just want to say a massive thank you for joining me today on the 10-minute Project Fix.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks very much for joining me on today's podcast. Remember, if you are looking to hire anybody within your project delivery teams, please do drop me a message at gary.wills@talenttoday.co.uk, or feel free just to drop me a direct message. Alternatively, if you are looking to be a guest speaker on the 10-minute Project Fix, I would love to hear from you. So please do drop me a message. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Thanks.